Friends, there are promises you can hear and promises you must drink. My beautiful ethereal orchestral ballad, Living Water, doesn't just paint a picture, friends. It points you to Christ's real supply, a river that won't retire when you're weary and won't run dry when faith feels thin, a river that outlives your weather. My song's intro talks about wind and trickling water. And those aren't stage dressing, friends. They teach your heart that God's gifts aren't a spark that flickers out, but a stream that keeps moving from the living God. Grace isn't only something God offers, it is something He pours into the inner man or woman. You don't survive on yesterday's mood, friends. You live on today's mercy. Mercy that returns when you come back. Mercy that keeps its appointment. Verse 1 takes you to the twilight under the silver willow, very beautiful scene, when strength feels unreliable and your heart whispers that nothing is happening. Living water hums anyway, friends. Mercy that doesn't take a vacation or a break from your soul. It doesn't stop when feelings go quiet. It keeps its appointment. Grace isn't garnish, it's nourishment that reaches the bones to revive you so you can stand, breathe, and keep walking with God. Amen. Love that carves, then the chorus lifts you into the mountain streams where the water is carving the stone. Comfort can hush the noise in your chest, but living water goes deeper, friends. It changes what pain shaped. It wets what pride hardened, and it steadies what fear tried to fracture. That's why the chorus speaks of love in every drop, wild grace that is patient, repeatable, and still transforming after the moment passes. Light that breaks through in verse 2 moves into the misty dawn. Dawn is what happens when darkness has to loosen its grip, friends. Gospel language says Jesus breaks into the inner night and makes new sight possible. Amen. If you feel far away, friends, don't assume God is silent. Assume you've been looking for water in the places that can't hold it. Come back to the source. Rain that washes shadows, and the bridge then takes you to the prayerful and plain talk. Flow like rain on thirsty ground. Wash the shadows over me. That's cleansing, friends, not just comfort. Living water washes hidden places where shadows gather. Christ keeps rinsing what darkness tried to own. Amen. Drink again. The outro fades with wind and distant water repeating the prayer. Living water fills my soul. Repetition is faith working, friends. You don't drink once and then coast. You return to the living water because the soul keeps needing what only Christ can give. Amen.